Yeah, that's a nice one right there. I hope you guys doing all right. Welcome for day 2 on our LEDA, which is going live every day in August. So this is your host, Marcello Arsley, your friendly waste stream analyst right here in Metro Atlanta. And if we haven't met already, I provide recycling and waste services for companies right here in Metro Atlanta. I specialize in working with industrial manufacturing industries. And if you know someone that needs help in that industry, or if you need help in that area, feel free to reach out to me directly. My number is 678-683-9136. Now, also get out some quick stuff out of the way. All opinions are solely my own and do not reflect the opinions of my employer, because I work for the second largest waste company in the nation. Now, let's get right into it. Now, today's day 2. Now, the folks at ECAN sent me an email, and because I joined into the challenge, and they posed 3 different questions, which was very interesting. Mind you, I can understand why they did that, because folks that are going to be taking up the challenge, they are, like myself as well, they start thinking, what am I going to talk about? What's interesting? So they provided a few questions just to get the juices flowing. So the first question for today, or better yet, the topic is essentially let me bring that up right here. I had it here a moment ago, and yeah, here we go. Today's day 2, and it's basically your younger and current self. So now the first question is what I wanted to be when I was a kid. Well, my dad was a stockbroker, and I wanted to be like my dad. And later on, I realized that I had a knack for that. Not necessarily being a stockbroker, even though it's not something that I became when I became an adult, but I always had an interest in sales and marketing. Now, when it pertains to that, when I realized I wanted to do that, I think about when I was younger. I remember, being bored, hanging outside with the kids. That's all we used to do back in the days, not play video games. We did that when we were a little bit older. But I started just, fitting around and meeting folks. And I remember one specific time I stumbled upon a flea market. It was just the most interesting scenario. So I'm walking around meeting folks, like my age now. And as I got there in the morning, I saw folks unpacking a lot of boxes and moving things around, and it appeared that they were struggling. So it got me to thinking, well, I'm bored, I'm younger, and a little bit stronger, and I wonder if I could offer my services first, because I could help them, because they could focus their energy on what they do best, presenting the merchandise. But I could do the grunt work for them. And obviously we negotiated a rate that they could agree to. Needless to say, I became the go-to person at that flea market. And afterwards I became a traveling mover, I guess, if you want to say. So needless to say, at a young age, I realized I had an opportunity to talk to perfect strangers and identify if there was a need, and if so, how I could help them. So that's how at an early age, I realized I always wanted to be in sales and marketing. Now, the next question is, how does it show up in my life today? Quite simple. Literally the same thing that I mentioned a moment ago. I essentially what I do in my life now is I meet individuals in organizations, and my job is to identify how I could be of service, how I could help them. And mind you, let me be clear. I know I'm in sales. However, not every individual or organization could be a good fit. So my job, essentially, the way I see it, is disqualifying our services and making sure that we could be a good fit. And now how that works is by asking thought-provoking questions. And given my experience in the industry, I can maybe predict certain scenarios. However, I make an effort to stay curious. So in doing so, my vulnerability, I'm able to be vulnerable, essentially. And sometimes people can feel it. and then they open up to me, and we find ways to have a mutually beneficial relationship. So now, when it pertains to live streaming, think about how this happens time and time again. Either a scenario, someone says, "Hey, Marcello, I'm thinking about doing X. However, the challenge that I'm having is that I keep coming across the challenge with Y." So that's how I come in to try to see if we can connect the dots and streamline that process and make sure that it's a sustainable solution. Now, the last question is telling a story or providing an example. How is relevant when it pertains to creating content? Now, before I go into the last question, let me see if I have any folks here on the live stream. Let me see if I can refresh the page here. I know I'm streaming out to Facebook, so I want to say, hey, thank you very much for everyone on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, gosh, you name it. I'm actually running right now the Ecamm beta software. So right now I should be multi-streaming to multiple channels right now. So I just refreshed my channel here, and okay, I'll catch up with the comments later on. So now check this out. Let me see here. Let me see if I can actually go into the comments. You know what? I'm not gonna. I'll spend too much time on that one. So now the last thing, the last question is telling a story and providing an example when it pertains to creating content. And I'm gonna post a link to it right here. So for instance, I'll visit a customer and they'll ask me, "Hey, Marcello, I'm thinking about installing a compactor, or I have this type of waste and I'm not sure how I can actually effectively and install an efficient manner to dispose of it." So we start discussing different options. And if I see a scenario that works for customer A, if I see that scenario possibly coming up again with a different customer, maybe customer A2, then I'll say, "Hey, you know, I had a similar situation a few months, a couple of years ago, and we recommended a situation that incorporated this solution." Or better yet, they might come to me and say, "Hey, Marcello, I was at a previous company and we had a situation that we did this implementation, but I'm curious how that will work here." So what I've done in the past is I'll go to different sites and capture either the actual equipment in place running, or when the equipment is purchased, we actually at the yard capture the equipment and provide a detailed illustration how this equipment is going to work at that location. So I'll create the content, I'll post it on YouTube, I'll post it right here on LinkedIn, and also in different channels. So when a scenario comes up and they'll say, "Hey, Marcello, I'm not sure if we could be a good fit. I wonder if you could help me." And I'll tell you a quick story and I'll wrap up this video. Years ago, I have a good friend named Antonio. He used to work for a company called Zarnowski. I'll tag him in the comments. I remember distinctly he came to me and said, "Hey, Marcello, I love to do business with you. We already have a current vendor, but if you could help me ensure that rainwater doesn't go back into the drainage, because in their county they have something in place that requires them to do that. And if you can help me with that, we could do business because I want to avoid getting fined." Needless to say, I remember, and I'll tag you, Anthony, on this one. I remember saying, "You know what about if I could provide a solution, an open top container that has a cover top? Would that work?" And I'll put a link to that video in the comments right here and tag Anthony. Needless to say, we took some time, we explored the option, and we custom built the solution for him. Needless to say, we're still friends. He's moved on from that company. I believe he's down in Florida, but we're still connected right here on LinkedIn. So that same video, I've been able to utilize it in different applications and exploring if it could be a good fit. And ironically, this month I'm actually working with Amazon in incorporating the same solution at their place. So needless to say, to wrap up this point, I said that a moment ago, but really what it is, find ways to create content that can become evergreen. So when the situation comes up, you can actually literally repurpose it, and what that provides ultimately is social proof. So again, my name is Marcello Arcele. I'm your friendly waste stream analyst right here in Metro Atlanta. I want to thank you very much for joining me here for live every day in August. Day 2. Be sure to join me tomorrow for day 3. Thank you very much for seeing me. You have a good day. Take care. Bye.